Example 10.24 is a 6-mark sum. So they say that the probability of suffering a side effect from a certain vaccine is 0.005 and 1000 people have taken that vaccine. 1000 persons are inoculated means 1000 people have taken that vaccine. Now you have to find the probability that at most one person, right, is suffering from the side effect. That means maximum one person is suffering and it can be lesser than that also, right? And the second part is you have to find the probability of that either 4 or 5 or 6 people suffer from the side effect of the vaccine. So before we start, I want to say that why we are going to use Poisson distribution. You see that the number of trials is 1000. Whenever the number of trials is greater, you will use Poisson distribution. So that is going to be the main difference between Poisson and binomial. In binomial, the number of trials is less. It's a finite number with which you can substitute the formula and find out. But when the number of trials becomes large, you have to use Poisson distribution, right? So before we get started, let's first write the probability function for the Poisson distribution, right? It is going to be equal to e power minus lambda by lambda power x by x factorial, where x is going to take value 0, 1, 2 and so on, and lambda, which is called the mean, is equal to n into p, right? And in this sum here, n is given as 1000 and p is nothing but 0.005, which is the probability of suffering from the side effect of the vaccine. Now let's start with the A part, right? It's going to be probability of x equal to 0 plus probability of x equal to 1. That is probability of x less than or equal to 1. Now substitute the formula in here, right? When you substitute, what do you get? All I have done, I have substituted for x in the formula here. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take e power minus lambda outside. So this first term becomes 1 and second term becomes lambda. But I know that lambda is equal to 5. So this will become e power minus 5 into 6. And you know that e power minus 5 is given in the sum is 0.0067, right? So it is going to be 0.0067 into 6, and when you multiply you get 236 plus 4 is going to be 40 and 0. So this is the probability that at most maximum 1% suffers. Good, we've done the first part. Now let's do the second part. Now can you do the sum along with me? I want you to substitute for p probability of x equal to 4, 5 and 6. Okay. X equal to 4 plus probability of x equal to 5 plus probability of x equal to 6. Let's take e power minus lambda by 4 factorial outside. This is after substituting for p of x equal to the respective values in the formula. So when you take e power minus lambda by 4 factorial outside, what remains in the first term is lambda power 4. I can even take lambda power 4 outside, right? So let me also do that. So what remains in the first term is 1. What remains in the second term is lambda by 5. And what remains in the second term is lambda squared by 6 into 5, which is 30, right? And 6 factorial I have taken 4 factorial outside. Now let's substitute for lambda. Lambda is nothing but 5, right? So e power minus 5 power 4 by 4 factorial into 1 plus 5 by 5, which is again 1, plus lambda squared by 30, which is 5 5s are 25, 25 by 30. So it's going to be e power minus 5 into 5 power 4 by 4 factorial into 2 plus 25 by 30, right? So after you take LCM, it is going to be 60 plus 25, 85 by 30, and this, if I divide by 5, it is going to give me 17 by 6. So I'm just straight away writing it as 17 by 6. Okay, so it's going to be e power minus 5. You can substitute for e power minus 5 later. 5 power 4 into 5 power 4, which is 25 into 25, 625 into 17 is 10,625 into 6 into 4 factorial, right, which is 24 into 6 is going to give me 144. And you know that e power minus 5 is 0.0067, yes, 67 into 10,625 by 144. So I will typically multiply 10,625 into 0.0067 and divide it by 144. And if you can do it by logarithm method, that is also fine. But the quicker thing, if you are very quick at multiplication, it's easier to multiply these two and divide it by 144, right? Because it's not going to be divisible by a common number that I can think of, right? So you will get the answer as 0.4944. If you do not get 0.4944, please message me. I can send you the working out of this multiplication and division. So that's basically the answer.